Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper Podcast. Okay, so how to automate your sales and marketing with Kylie Gorzalka. Let me introduce you to Kylie and then just tell you what this podcast is about. So Kylie Gorzalka is a bookkeeper in practice, but she's also the founder and head of Officiently software. Now, that's built off the Go High Level platform. You may or may not have heard of that. What that is and why Kylie created it is very linked to who she is. So as I said, she's a bookkeeper in practice. She's also a tribe member. Kylie joined our program in August 2023. So this August, she'll be in our program 2 years. That means she's a graduate club member. And as a bookkeeper in practice, Kylie decided that she would use the Go High Level platform to build out a really powerful software solution for herself. And then why not provide that to other bookkeepers? So you'll hear in the episode how Kylie and I got talking and how now she actually provides this as a solution to bookkeepers. We're going to explain what it does for your practice, which is ultimately automating a lot of the sales and marketing, okay? That is from the lead generation right through the conversion process, the keep in touch marketing, and more. You can even put your standard operating procedures in there in the course functionality that they have if you want to, okay? So there's tons to learn here. Personally, after wrapping this episode, I think it is really exciting what Kylie's got to tell us. I know for me as a bookkeeper in practice, I would want to know that this is available. I would want to know all about it. And so that's what I've done. I've asked Kylie lots of questions. It's a really comprehensive episode and therefore it does go on a bit longer. But let me tell you, I will not take a moment more than what I need to, which is why when one of my episodes is a bit longer, it's because I feel like the value is there. Okay. So I'll see you in the episode so we can hear from Kylie. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice six-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Welcome to the podcast, Kylie.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you for having me on.
It is my pleasure. I'm excited. We're having a bit of a giggle before the podcast because we were deciding on one of two topics. And what I really want to hear about, that I know everyone will want to hear about, is the Officiently platform. But before we jump into that, I'm going to ask Kylie to really tell us who she is, her background, what she's doing today, because Kylie's a bookkeeper like me, like you. So whatever's in her heart to share so you understand all about her before we move on to what Officiently is and why you might want to consider it for your practice.
Thanks, Jeannie. Yes, I am a bookkeeper, BAS agent. I have been in the industry for over 20 years. I started my journey in basically as an accounting technician, and that was my role for about 20 years with a big firm. Towards the end of that, I decided I would like a little bit more variety. So I was doing some bookkeeping for friends of families on the side, and that's how I built up to becoming a BAS agent. And I really loved the variety. I loved hearing about businesses, what they were using to do the different elements of their business. And I loved particularly startups as well. I love the excitement of that, of really getting in at the ground floor with businesses and helping that structure. I love that. I love the planning. I love the implementing. And so I left my firm of over 20 years, which was a very big step, and started out on my own. And I was very fortunate, I think, that the company that I worked for was very progressive technology-wise. So they were always looking what systems, what tech can we implement to make us more productive and obviously be more compliant and have all those sort of pre-checked steps done by automations. This is sort of pre-AI, so that then they could really leverage the knowledge of their highly experienced accountants to do that QA review work, have all that sort of data entry checks done first rather than wasting time on that. So that was my background. And when I stepped into my own practice, I knew I wanted to really leverage technology. And I was lucky that I came across your course very early on in my practice. I'd sort of done 2 or 3 years and I was doing okay, but I knew I wanted to get a better picture of how to do my practice better. So was I at the right price point? I didn't really know. Thankfully, I wasn't far off. I was doing straight off packaging when I started. So it was amazing then to jump into your program and learn about not just fixed price packaging, but actually that value pricing. So that was a huge learn for me and it really excited me. And in doing that, I became aware of how I wanted to then present that to clients. I wanted that really professional edge.
Yes.
And I didn't have the budget to have all of the programs and I didn't have the clients. I wasn't looking to be a massive firm of my own. I did want to be that boutique bookkeeping practice. So some of the subscriptions didn't really make sense to me because I didn't think I would be doing a lot of onboarding and proposing, but I really wanted the professionalism and I really wanted something that was cost effective, but really allowed me to be that professional in my communications, in my presentations. So that's sort of where I've come from and where I am.
That was awesome. So to be clear, Kylie is one of our tribe. So she's been in our transformation program now for, she's a graduate club member, I think from the get-go. Yeah, so way back about August 2023, Kylie joined us. There was a point at which Kylie came to me and she said, I've got this really cool piece of tech, Jeannie, and I'd like to be able to present it. And I think that it would be amazing to sell through to the tribe and to bookkeepers generally. But I just want to know, would that be okay? And I said, well, show it to me. So Kylie showed it to me, which is Officiently. Okay, so we'll run you through that in a minute. And I had lots of questions. And so Kylie answered all my questions. And very quickly, I could see this is really great. This is nothing but beneficial to the bookkeepers inside our tribe. So I just said, absolutely. In our private Facebook group, which is just amazing, the tribe Facebook group, we all collaborate and we just work with one another in any way we want to help each other. So in that way, Kylie went in, she said, okay, Officiently is at the time it was coming. And she said, she's got this great solution. And I jumped on and said, okay, I'm endorsing the use of Kylie's software Officiently to assist you in your bookkeeping practice with doing your proposals, but it does do more than that. So we'll jump into that in a minute. And so with what Kylie said about pricing and packaging, it's really, really important because if you think of your bookkeeping practice, you've got to win work first. And bookkeepers, we don't think of that, right? Kylie, I think we think, no, we do work. And it's like, yeah, but that's irrelevant. And it doesn't even matter if you don't win the work, right? And Kylie, you might be interested to know that ChatGPT and I have been working together a lot lately. And we've come up with 4 archetypes I serve, right? I think you'll love this. And it's so true for Officiently as well. So you've got the startup bookkeeper, the struggling bookkeeper. I'm not startup, but I haven't got enough clients. Then you've got the busy booked but broken bookkeeper, right? That's a massive portion. That's generally where everybody ends up. Hand up, I've been there, right? I've been the startup, the struggling, the busy, broken bookkeeper. And then 4th, you've got the scaling bookkeeper. And if you join my program, for example, I've identified you should go startup to scaling. But if you join and you're struggling or you're the busy book but broken, we just need to fix your practice first. Sounds so simple, right? We just need to fix it. Yeah. Pain and tears, and that's okay. We'll get through it. But these are the 4 archetypes, right? So when we're thinking about pricing and packaging and winning the work, what we often tend to do, the booked but broken, also what we call the busy bookkeeper or even the struggling bookkeeper, is find a prospective client and sell through with a broken model, which is usually around price, products and pricing. Because if we've managed to find the client, well, we did it. But then if we sell what I would call just the wrong products with the wrong price attached, then we're building this broken, busy practice. Now, if we want to sell through awesome products at super high prices, yes, we need to present it professionally. And so the first piece of software that you need for your business, I think outside of everything, if you're a startup, if you're all by yourself, well, you don't really need to go job costing or job management even. I'm pretty sure you know what your jobs are. Put them in your Google Diary and have a checklist, right? Kick it simple. But I actually think, and I'm happy for someone to challenge me on this, but your proposal software is that number one mechanical thing that you need to really have working for you, because that's about presentation, like you said. It's about the conversion process, which is, oh my goodness, so critical, right? So I just wanted to connect to what you said about, you got the Pricing Academy, you started to really understand that outcome-based value billing. You knew this is amazing, this is going to transform things, but now how do I present it? And your options are to go and pick up, say, Ignition software, which we use in our practice, and many of our tribe use it. Ignition is amazing. You've got things like PandaDoc, but you came and built out this beautiful software that now many of our tribe are using at really affordable rates, which is Officiently, but it does so much more. I know that if I didn't know about this right now, I'd be absolutely chomping at the bit to know more. So can you tell us about, you've now launched Officiently. It sounds like you found it and launched it from a need in your own business. So maybe expand on that. And what is it? What does it do? And why should we consider it?
Thanks, Jeannie. Yes, it did come from a need for my own practice. I wanted to, as we said, professionally present my proposal, have that engagement, and then I wanted to continue that. And something that I learnt being in the tribe was then, that's great. They've accepted the proposal. You might have a payment, but there's a critical next step that many, many of us are missing. And that's addressing the buyer's regret, which you say, if you don't get in and connect with them straight away, then that buyer's regret is going to set in and there could be some wobble. So I really loved that. And I thought that was really important. So it's that next steps, just connecting with them. And there's many different, you can sit there and send them an email. But for me, I tend to overthink things. I'll go, oh, how should I address this time? Should I change my signature? And you get lost in those details and it becomes overwhelmed and just mental load of details that are irrelevant to the client. They need to know what those next steps are. So I guess one of the critical parts of when I started Officiently is I wanted to combine that. I really wanted that whole piece of that journey of once the client has engaged, that they are immediately contacted. They know the next steps. They know what to expect from you, from the service. Officiently is built on a product called Go High Level. I'm very happy to say that. And that is available worldwide. However, what I've done is I've taken it and completely customized it for bookkeeping practices and accounting practices, because being a practitioner myself, I understand the needs, I understand the compliance, and I want to help our community, elevate without it being overwhelmed. So we don't need all of the products. I like to think of it as a bit like a Swiss Army knife. So it's got most of the things you need to do that front end, this amazing CRM. I can have all of my contacts, my referral partners, my business buddies, all in the one spot, and I can contact them. And I can set up these beautiful automations that are triggered by different needs at different stages of that client journey that you've brought to me and my practice.
Yeah, and I know Go High Level's kind of taken the world by storm. So it's an amazing platform. I remember when I went to our amazing general manager, my big boss, Pedra, and she said a lot of people are going to Go High Level from things, even if we're just talking CRM, customer relationship management. I know a lot of people go, what is that? Whether it's MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, which is so expensive. I think we pay more for ActiveCampaign than Go High Level would cost us. And to be clear too, when you go to Kylie, not only is it customized, but it's not like you're paying any more than you would if you went to get Go High Level. So as I understand it, Kylie, you are a proper agent. You're a specialist, and so you're a reseller of this platform, which you've made bespoke for bookkeepers. But I know you sell it to other professional services as well.
Yes, I have some business buddies that I've helped out because it is completely flexible for any industry, any service. There's just so many elements. Like you said, you focus on the CRM, having everyone in one spot. And one thing that has been really useful in my practice, and I know that there's another tribe member that uses it, is we've been able to have a virtual mobile number. And that just means that it's attached to Efficiently, its own number. I can make calls, I can send SMS, I can do it all while sitting right here at my desk, which has been amazing for particularly my clients that are on site. They're never going to respond to an email, but if I can just flick them a text, they're going to respond straight away. And we can just move through the day and move on with that one issue. We're not getting stuck. And then also, if I have a team sitting next to me or over in another country, they're also going to have that history of messages, and they can also send the text messages to our clients. So we've got this one whole space where we can all communicate with the clients, have that full record, and it's really convenient for both parties. So yeah, that's been really elevated.
Amazing. I actually did a video for my team because for some reason we can only text in Australia. And I said, well, Kylie and Efficiently can text overseas. So you need to go and ask Kylie. All right. Now, I think it would be helpful. I'd like to go through the features and benefits and also relate it back to our archetypes, right? Because look, I know a lot of startups are teaching me a lot about Efficiently in the tribe as I watch them adopt it, because startups, they don't have anything, right? So they've got nothing. And therefore, when they come to you, often they end up taking a lot more of the features than perhaps, let's say I came to you and I said, well, I'm really happy with my website. I love Ignition. So all I want to do is use other features or benefits of Efficiently. So I'm starting to understand that you've got all these features. And for everyone listening, if you're in the tribe, there's like a template that Kylie uses because you're using our licensed membership intellectual property. And then if you're outside the tribe, that's fine. Kylie's going to build just without that template. So can you run us through, I guess, the features and benefits so that we understand the power of what it can do and the power of what maybe it replaces and what we don't need?
Yeah. So when you're talking about for a startup bookkeeper, inside or outside the tribe, we can build a website at really great value, can be completely customized however they'd like, or we can, if you're inside the tribe, as you said, we can utilize those beautiful assets that we have. So we can build in quizzes and surveys and forms. So whilst this may seem really simple, a contact us form sits in your website. Now, some platforms, the form gets submitted and you might get an email to say someone submitted their details, and then you need to action that. Within Efficiently, because it's tied to the CRM, it's going to instantly create a contact record, and then we can set up a responder. Thank you for contacting me. We'll be in touch. By the way, we have this health check. Have you seen my ebook? And we can have it all linked. So it's just this beautiful little sequence of nurturing that potential client without you having to do anything. And that works with any of the forms that we build in Efficiently. So if you're a startup bookkeeper or even a scaling up and you have a website, we can embed those forms seamlessly into your existing website, and then that will come into your Efficiently CRM, and we can have that same sequencing. So it's so flexible. Yes, it can be within Efficiently your website, or it can be with another platform. We can still integrate those forms, and you can still utilize all of those features of the CRM and the email marketing, which is just really your communications. And then we can set up further sequences. We can wait 2 days and then we can send them, have you seen this other asset that I've got? Here's a link to my calendar. And so within Efficiently, we have calendars. So that's a replacement for anything like Calendly. There's no extra cost.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you can have multiple calendars. And while you want to widen in multiple calendars, we set them up for the different service types so that you can understand that someone has gone through your website, clicked this button, and they've used this calendar, and that's how they've come into you. Or you could drop your calendar on your socials. And again, it's starting to understand where your leads are coming in from so that you can build out maybe more focus of where you're getting more leads. Okay, let's put a bit more energy into that area, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be Instagram. If that's where you're getting your leads from, because we're getting all this data, you can start to utilize that to make a marketing plan.
Wow. Okay. That's really helping me. So for example, you can get the website solution, you can get the CRM, you can get the calendar. So all of these, this is why Go High Level is taking the world by storm, because it is giving us a fairly robust solution. That means we don't need as many tech stacks. Okay. All right. So you've got the calendar as well. And I feel like we do a whole podcast on the marketing point. For everyone, don't forget to get the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint one pager in the show notes. Okay. So let's relate efficiently to that. So right at the top, foundation, brand, brochure, social media, website. So you can get your website, social media. Talk to me about whether Efficiently helps us with that.
Yes, it certainly does. So it has an inbuilt planner. So you can post to a single platform or you can post to all the platforms. So we're talking LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, that it's called now, all at once, or you can select which platforms that you want to select to. At this time, my understanding that Canva doesn't offer an API to anyone, as in a direct one. So you still need to input your assets, but we do have an AI function in there that you can start to work with to train to build out your actual posts. And we do have a new image builder feature coming. So all these things, again, we're coming all into one. So you can move away from potentially having to use that Canva AI and move it into there. These are all just little snippets for future. But as it is right now, we've got this really robust social planner. So you can schedule a year in advance and it does reels. So you've got all of those standard features of posting, but it's all in one location. So you're not having to do multiple. You don't ever have to go into Facebook Meta. I don't know who's a master in that, but please contact me if you are, because I find that so overwhelming using the Facebook business Meta section. So we can just stay all in this one nice environment. You can even invite team members in to come and do the draft posts for you, and then you can approve them. And then if you get a response, then they're going to be created as a contact. And again, then we can do that nice nurturing. You can automatically respond to them. Thank you for commenting. Would you like to book an appointment? Yeah, so those instant responders. And you can also, create that whole sequence for them. So start to actually have a bit of a conversation to find out their needs and if they are a potential client.
Whoa, instant responder. Holy cow. Okay, amazing. All right, and we've got a Meta Ads full-time specialist starting at TSB. So
great. Yes.
They call it Meta specialist. So when they start, as you can imagine, they're brought on to benefit the tribe, but that person will be available to support you with all that as well. Okay. So then in terms of features and benefits and just looking at the bookkeeping practice blueprint, from there we move on to products and pricing, product ladder conversion process. I want to just talk efficiently in product ladder to start with. So Kylie was just saying, like, let's say somebody visits your website. Most bookkeepers, and myself included early on, I certainly didn't know what a product ladder was. I didn't understand that before we sold a core product, we needed a nice ecosystem of content and welcome line nurture assets. If you have read either of my books or both, you'll know that in the bookkeeping practice blueprint, which is hitting shelves right now, I give you like 10 that we use in the program, right? So as I understand it, efficiently, easily, perfectly can make sure that we serve up those welcome line nurture assets for our market, our prospective clients to engage in so that they warm up during the customer journey, which if I was a bookkeeper not knowing anything about this, my mind would probably be like, oh my Lord, what are you talking about? But they warm up and then by the time they call you, they're pre-sold and they're ready to buy at twice the rate. So can you make a few comments on features and benefits to do with like products and pricing, product ladder, and then how that integrates into the conversion process?
Yes, so definitely. If you are a member of the tribe, we have these beautifully done for you assets that we integrate into either your website directly if it's with Officially, or we said with an external one. And those assets are things like the health check quiz. So inside Officiently, we have a dedicated quiz functionality and we have put that asset in, a beautiful quiz step by step. And as it goes, it's auto-calculating the scores. And so we've set them into different sections, so numbers 101, sales and marketing. And when they get to the end, then they've got a little score for each section of how well they're doing. And then we can have a dynamic content. So if they scored 100%, we'd say, that's great. You look like you're doing really well. Let's see what we can do to, take you to the next level. If they scored really low, we can give them a gentle reminder that it's pretty tough being in business and maybe you need a little bit more help. Let's see how we can help you. And there's a link to the calendar that they can go straight in. So that's one beautiful asset. We can also put in the business fundamentals training, and that is instant access. First, we display, let them know what it's about. Then they submit their details. So immediately you've got that contact record in your CRM. And then they have access to that beautiful pre-recorded fundamentals training. In the background, we've also sent them an email to say thank you. If you don't have time to watch it now, Here's the link. Watch it anytime you like. 2 days
Yep.
later, how did you go? What are your thoughts? Respond to me. By the way, did you know we've got a health check quiz? Have a look at that. So yeah, it's being able to just use those assets exchangeably to nurture that client, to make sure that they're really being exposed to everything that you have to offer. If you have an ebook, again, we just pop that on your website and then that's instant access once they've given us the details. If, as we go along, you might want to develop almost like a pre-service survey, ask them some questions about what their business is. So I've seen some other bookkeepers have that on their website. And again, it's just really about getting some information from the client so that when you go and contact them, you've got some reference, you've got a starting point to then engage with them and develop that relationship.
Wow. I'm learning so much. The way I would frame it is you've got a really robust marketing and selling automation funnel for the minute somebody comes into that brand sphere that we talk about in my first book and they connect with you, then the tech Officiently is basically going to nurture them through that beautiful journey, keeping in touch with them, which are all the concepts we talk about with the welcome line nurture assets, the core products. Okay, this is mind-blowing. So easily, I know that with Officiently, because it has all the proposal software capabilities, you're going to have your full suite of productized services in there. And a little side note, so if you're not in the tribe and you connect with Kylie, like, do you offer a complimentary consultation? What do you offer for people to get to know you?
Yeah, definitely jump on and see the Officiently features. You know, we can spend 10 minutes, we can spend 45 minutes, and I can walk you through the different elements so you can actually see it. So it's something tangible in front of you. And then you can take away and digest that and then come back and say, well, what about this element? How does that work? And then we can just work together so you understand if it's right for you, if it's right for you now, and what elements do you really need for your practice.
Yeah, one of the little secret hidden benefits of using Kylie, whether you're in the tribe or not, but let's just talk about you're outside of our transformation program. Because Kylie is in our program, she's in the graduate club, she knows our content really, really well. She knows everything about the blueprint. She's actually going to be able to analyze what's working, what's not working, and give you that direction on what to do, whether you join or not. And for us inside the program, it's great because Kylie's almost like a crowdsourced coach, right? She knows all of this stuff. And even inside the program, she can say, for example, Sally, you might be missing this. Have you considered doing this? Have you got your reviews up to date on, Google? That's a good one. Does it do anything around reviews?
It certainly does. I'll just pull out the next bit of the Swiss Army knife.
Tell me.
So you connect your Google My Business to your Officiently, and any reviews that you have are just going to pull in, and then it becomes what's called a little widget. So then that widget you can embed on your website, whether or not, again, that's an Officiently website or another website. These are just little embeds widgets, so we can play with those. And Google really rewards businesses that are very responsive to their reviews. So they want to see that you're reading them and responding to them very quickly, because that helps with, I guess, those algorithms of what they're going to push you up and down the page. Yes. So we can have auto responders again. So you can have a couple of different responses that as soon as someone has given you that Google review, you can get straight back to them to thank them and let them know that the value it's been to yourself. And again, if then you want to, get a bit cheeky, hey, have you seen this asset? If it's a client that did sort of a once-off, an ad hoc service, then you could provide them with additional information as to how you could help them to book into a review. So it's always linking back to your whole brand sphere. Whenever someone contacts you via Officiently, whether that's just a form, being the website, or via socials, you can immediately respond to them. You can nurture them, because there's lots of different research out there to show that, particularly on the conversion, once you have converted, if you then instantly or almost instantly respond to them, you're going to keep that conversion. You're going to get further sales because they feel safe. There's someone there. There's someone responding and, they're ready to engage.
Yeah. This is like a massive thing, because if we move into conversion, and I know that in a simple way, Officiently can easily present the proposal, do the conversion process. You're going to have your video sales letter in there, which is just so important. You're going to have your brochure, which is secondary to the video sales letter. It's going to do all the automated follow-up. But I would say one of the things that Most bookkeepers don't know, and I didn't know, and I learned it the hard way. And it has been revolutionary for eliminating buyer's remorse, therefore improving the customer experience, therefore improving retention and referrals, is this onboarding comms.
Yes. I was just speaking to a bookkeeper just the other day, and she said, yes, I got the conversion and then I had to send him 5 emails. And I thought that was a bit much. So there's responding, and then we get into that barrage of emails, and then we start, as I love your phrase, tennis.
Email tennis, a sport with all losers. If anyone thinks that their clients have a burning desire to get even one email from you, you're kidding yourself. If they never got another email again, they'd be the happiest client in the world. And when I said, I probably went fast and furious, I have to remind myself, I kind of said onboarding comms, and it's like, what the hell is that, Jeannie? Okay, so comms is short for communication. So onboarding communication, if you're not doing this in your practice, we can keep it really, really simple. One email that tells them exactly what to expect next, as in, when will you hear from me? When will you start my work? Anything you need to tell them, right? So in the program, we have all this templated in the done for you standard operating procedures, but it Officiently does this for you, right?
Yeah, so we then work together. Everything within Officiently is customized to you and your practice. Whilst if you're in the tribe, we're taking those assets, we are still putting your branding all over it, because you've got the license to use the IP.
Yep.
So, and then if you're outside of the tribe and you've worked on branding, then we bring that in, because that is all part of that beautiful brand sphere. If you've got a logo, then we want to use it on the emails. We want to use it on the engagements. We really want to customize it to you. So that onboarding comms, once they've engaged, there is a trigger, which is the engagement being signed, and they'll receive that next steps email. And we work together so that it's your voice going out to your clients. But yes, it lets them know, here are the contact details for the practice. There might be a link to a Dext or a HubDoc account, and that's in the email. There might be a link to, if they need to do their identity check, then we can just put a link for how they access that. We also have a customized, for each practice, the client agent linking guide. So we've just taken the screenshots, we've put in each BAS agent's details and a link to that. So if they want to know the process, they just click that and a web page opens up with all the phone numbers, all the ATO links and screenshots, so that they know exactly how to do it. And we hope that that just makes it a little bit easier for clients, and that the success rate and the speed at which they do that process is increased.
One of the tribe mentioned that the other day. Okay, so conversion process, when you do the proposal, service level agreement, also known as client engagement, is there any ability or integration where it'll file it in your Google Docs or in your job management system or anything like that?
Any program that can utilize Zapier or Zapier,
yes,
also integrate. So we have quite a number of native integrations within Officiently. But anything else, you can use webhooks to fire things out via Zapier and to do it that way.
Okay. And have you got any bookkeepers who are using anything like that, where they say, okay, I want the service level agreement filed here? Are you doing any of that yet?
No, but this is a feature request. I love any bookkeepers that we talk to, and anytime we have a conversation, a new idea comes up. And so we're just filing those and trying to implement them as fast as possible to make everyone's practice that little bit more efficient. Because what I would love is that Officiently is your virtual assistant that we have, but it really is that virtual assistant. So if it can assist you as another team member, then you can use that time, that money elsewhere. So if you need capacity, then this hopefully taking away those admin tasks, so that one, it's giving you additional capacity. But if you wanted to put on team, then you may not have to put on someone to do those admin tasks. They can be doing the higher level tasks to free up your time too. Sorry, lots of Jeannie-isms coming out today to work on your business and not in your business.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're constantly doing that in my bookkeeping practice. We've reduced our team by natural attrition massively. We have hardly anyone on the team now because the tech's just doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Okay, so I'm remembering now, it's called an API, right? So let's say you wanted that engagement filed in Google Docs. We could then use the API and Zapier. We use Zapier extensively in my businesses to, file it wherever we want. Okay, that is awesome. Does the ID check. At some point, I need to remind myself to ask you about courses and other features. Before we do that, I just want to touch on, so I'm going to the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint to the right-hand side, where we find audience and then nurture that audience. So that'd be pretty simple, right? We're coming over to CRM. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, to nurture. So we've got clients and prospective clients in our market and our accountants in there. And in the CRM, you might want to segment. And then, for example, in our program, we send out the Better Business podcast fortnightly. So in terms of the absolute diamonds at your feet and that all important keep in touch marketing, Officiently is going to do all of that really easily.
Yes. So we set up a template, and in terms of nurturing, let's say the Better in Business, then we're tagging. So we know which clients or which contacts we want to receive that Better in Business. And then so we've just got one template that we're able to take fortnightly and then just select the tag, and that's going to go out to all of those contacts that we've tagged to receive that Better in Business. And so similarly, you can do that. Let's just say you have some clients that were PCs, so potentials. They didn't go ahead for whatever reason, or you didn't even get to sending the proposal stage. So again, we can segment those out, and then we can set up an automation schedule. You say, well, in 2 months' time, send them this email. And that email might be, hey, it was great that we had that conversation. Just wondering how you're going. And do you want to maybe have another chat? And that is just happening in the background. You don't need to put a reminder on your calendar. You don't need to stop and sit down and think about and go through your pipeline. You can just have that preset. And it's just a really polite, gentle email just to come back into the mind of that PC or a lead.
Yeah, or a past client even.
Past client, yes.
Yeah, I just had one call me after the implementer yesterday, a beautiful past client called. And when I saw his name, I was like, oh my goodness, blast from the past. And he was a really good client. And anyway, the thing is, we keep in touch with him, right? And all he gets is our fortnightly podcast. Hi, here we are giving you a great value podcast to help you do better in business. Remember me, I'm Jeannie. And he said, you know what, Jeannie, I've done it. I've done that because I was really hard on him when I was coaching him. And he said, I did it. I've got my A team, my dreams coming true, and I need some more Jeannie time. I was like, yeah, but it's unlikely that he would have come back if we weren't just, as you say, politely, softly keeping in touch. But what I love about Officiently and that keep in touch is that you can do it so well with text messaging.
Yeah, so that's the same. You can develop a template. I'm really big on templates because for me, I can get distracted by, colors and logos and things like that. And is it perfect? Whereas that for a lot of other people, that's not even a consideration. So I love templates because I can design it once and then just keep reusing it. I don't have to look at it every time and have that decision fatigue because I'm not reconsidering things every time. I've got one template, I can adjust it, but I'm just going to say, this is the template that I use. And then we set up the automations on a schedule, at this frequency, I want to send this text message to that person. The obvious one is the birthday text. Happy birthday.
Yeah, so it
doesn't even need to be a calendar reminder. It just goes automatically on their birthday. You can do that with an email, but I'm more and more pivoting to what can I do with SMS because it is that instant. People don't want to open an email, but they're going to look at their text messages.
Oh my goodness. Because I don't get as much time to work in my practice now, I'm super busy at the Strategic Bookkeeper. I used to send manual text message for everyone's birthday because we send an email and then I would always get CC'd on that email. And once I sent a text message to a client, he replied and he said, you just have no idea how much that meant to me on his birthday. Because we never know, do we, where someone's at. So for me, I love text messaging because I hate email, but email has its place. Of all the communication methods we can use, like including flying pigeons, right? I love pigeons. How exciting would that be if a pigeon turned up with a message? You're paying attention. We're not really paying attention to email. So I think email is useful. It is needed. It is necessary. It's just the worst one of all the ones we can use. Text messaging is great. Before I ask you about how it's got the little course component, because in my first book, I asked bookkeepers to just begin the ideology shift around how they might add on a digital product to solve a problem rather than use their services and time for money. Is there anything that you want to talk about in the standard operating procedure space with Officiently?
QMS is a big one at the moment that everyone's talking about. And as I said, a lot of that is covered off in the standard operating procedures that we get as part of the Strategic Bookkeeper. But in terms of having something like Efficiently with a CRM, if you do have team, then everyone can view what's happening, emails, text messaging. You can have that little bit of continuity there. So your team can have access to that. We're not reliant on those individual inboxes. You can have that central place where everyone can access the same messages. There is different storage options within Efficiently. So we've got media storage that you can share different documents via, and it does connect to your Google Drive as well. So there is the potential to use, your courses and communities section for having, different operating procedures to share amongst your team. Yeah.
Yeah, because a courses section would be somewhere that would be really easy to put your standard operating procedures.
Yeah. And then they can be shared.
Okay. So ultimately you could do that. Yeah. Do you know what? I hadn't thought about the fact that your client comms are sitting in the CRM.
Yeah.
Yes. So your service level agreement hits the CRM when somebody says go, and that's your promise. So that's in your CRM. All your text messaging, all your comms can be saved in that one place. It almost forms a little bit of your job management. Do you know what I mean? Because really, it's all about jobs. Once they're a client, it's all about the job, getting the job done, keeping our promise. Now, other features that you'd like to mention and benefits, including the course functionality?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that's been new to me and that thought introduced by, how can we maybe develop some evergreen assets? So something that's big on putting all that mental load or the energy or the creativity into something once and then having it reused and reused and reused. You can develop courses within Efficiently, so similar to Kajabi. You can have different modules. They can be paid, they can be free, and you can put your quizzes, you can have, assessments as part of it if you're going to do sort of that direct educational piece. I know that we have someone in the tribe that is utilizing it that way. Otherwise, you can then just offer a community, a free community. So if you wanted to have a paid membership, that can serve as there. So you may want to have where you're offering different educational pieces via video. You can just pop those into the courses module.
Okay, that's massive because I look at, different courses and price structures, and most of them are starting at $80 a month. And so actually, if I was hearing all this, I'd be like, what is it, $1,000 a month, right? And it's ridiculously affordable. We'll talk about that in a second. On the courses and resources, I want to give everyone like this two-pronged thinking on that. So to keep it really, really simple, just creating courses and resources and selling them, it is really, really hard, right? Look, there's a whole backstory to that, but it can be done. It can be great. But a better place to start with courses and resources, I'm going to give you this clear direction on what to do, is if you are going to create any nice, simple, also known as digital product. So a digital product could be just a digital checklist. It can be anything, it can be an ebook, or a digital product might be a really super fast course, like the fundamentals of using Xero software or Intuit software or FreshBooks software or MyOb software, right? You're better off creating something to enhance the value of what you're already selling, okay, than creating something to sell, because that is really, really hard. And I'm happy to help anyone who needs help on that to do that. And inside the transformation program, that's kind of where we go and what we will help you with when it's appropriate. But I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm behind on the books, because that's most of your clients when you first find them. And I go to someone and I reach out and I'm like, I really need help. And two bookkeepers are exactly the same. They look exactly the same. I'm even struggling to tell them apart. Both their name is Sally, and everything that they're offering me is exactly the same. Yeah. Except Sally number 2, as part of her offering, is going to give me a little, let's call it a better business toolkit. So it's a digital product, and it's going to contain some things that I can use over a 3-month period to assist me to actually do some business improvement, knowing that the outcome is to increase my profit and cash. Okay. So let's say it's a 12-week course and it's all audio and I can listen to it in the car. So if that's the only other thing, the value of Sally number 2's service offering just got higher. And so I'm going to choose them. So courses and resources are a way to simply add value to what you're already selling. And another one is when you're selling through training packages, where you're going to train someone in how to use, say, Xero software, I might do a 3-hour training package and I'll include all the videos, etc. I can potentially put those into the course portal just for that client. Or I can say, look, as part of the $1,000 I'm going to charge you to train you in how to do this yourself, I'm going to give you 12 months access to my Xero Essentials Fundamentals training that you can look at anytime. It elevates the value. Now, if that's where you start with courses and resources, at some point through your learn, do cycle, you're going to eventually learn how you might try and sell one of these. So something that you're giving away as value to increase the value, you might then go and sell for $100 to the market who's not actually buying from you. So what are your thoughts on that, Kylie? Does that sound logical?
Yeah, it does. Creating something that is evergreen.
Yeah.
Is hugely valuable.
Yeah, evergreen meaning it's always available. And so, yeah, it's a bit heartbreaking if a bookkeeper thinks I'll create a course and I'll sell that because it seems really great and then nothing sells, or it's a lot of hard work for maybe $500 of additional revenue, which is not going to do much. So please start where I said to start and then reach out to me if you want more help and I'll create more content. Okay, are there any other features and benefits you'd like to tell us about?
Just one, again, things that I'm implementing as I go with the platform, as I sort of expand as to how can I use it and make sure I'm getting the full value out of it. Things like bank statement requests. So if you're doing that monthly, if you're doing that quarterly, if you're going to do that annually, why send 2 emails and have 2 actions? So you send an email request to the client. They've got to attach it, send you an email. Then when you get the email, you've got to download that bank statement. What we propose in Officiently is that whether you're using OneDrive, SharePoint, or Google Drive, you share a folder with your client. So it's a private link between the two of you. And then you just take that link and we put that in the email template and it's unique to every client. And you set it on schedule on the 5th of every month. It goes out to your clients that are tagged that need bank statements. And, hi, client, can you please upload your bank statements here? And so we've eliminated that need of 2 emails. It's just 1 email to the client. And you don't have any actions as a bookkeeper. You don't need to download and file anything. The client is doing it for you in that nominated folder. That one, I think, is great, a real time saver. Anything that we can reduce the amount of emails and have that direct action to the desired location, I think is a really big time saver.
Amazing. And then I was even thinking with reviews, because you have to collect new reviews every month. And I mean, you can tag clients to say you've already got a review, but ultimately an email that says, you know, if you've left us a review, we're so grateful. And if you haven't and you're enjoying our service, it would be really meaningful. Here are the links, off you go. So again, just set and forget rather than manually having to go out and think about that.
Yes, definitely. I've just set up something similar, whereas clients, they're all on a pipeline. And at their anniversary, before we're doing sort of any fee reviews or anything, I just send them a text. Hey, we've been together for 10 months. Thanks for being on board. Why don't we get together and do an annual review, a check-in, one of those things. And it just keeps going along every year doing it for me. They may not action it because, you know, Officially doesn't solve the problem of clients taking action, but it solves the problem of you having to think of that action and do the action when we can set it once and it can just keep repeating for all clients on a predetermined schedule.
Yeah, so 20-minute call process and annual planning session. These are inside the program. Don't worry too much if you don't know what they are. Kylie knows what they are. And if you're outside the program, she knows how to give you some great strategy. Okay, that's fantastic. And we're not using Officiently yet in my practice, but I can see now that we need to be. So feel free to reach out to Jo McMahon and just say, I'll put you on my list, Kylie. But I can see we absolutely need to as well, which is really exciting. We'll keep using Ignition software for our proposals, and we've already got a website through Bizing, but I can actually see the CRM and the automations, even the course component, because we don't have that, and we would use the course component, the ID checks, the reviews. We'll replace Calendly for us. Oh my goodness, so many things. Is it worth me asking you if you've got any bookkeeper inside or outside the tribe who's implemented that you could kind of say we implemented it for a bookkeeper and this is the kind of results or feedback we got? Is there anything there that would be helpful for the listeners?
Yeah, definitely. And I alluded to it earlier, particularly based around that CRM and teams. Having that has allowed this particular bookkeeper to have a team that is offshore, and that
Yes.
bookkeeper can communicate directly with the client. So they can be doing all the requests via text for any documents that are missing. That's taken the load off that bookkeeper, doesn't even have to think about it. She can do those high level tasks and let her team take on that for her. But she still has all of that right in front of her every day if she needs to check on anything. But it's allowed her, to have greater capacity for those higher value tasks.
Amazing. I mean, I'm mind blown by all the things that it can do. And I'm assuming you get a bit of that feedback from bookkeepers too.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And I love working in this space. I love talking to all the different bookkeepers, even if, Efficiently isn't right for them now or at all. Just engaging with bookkeepers always gives you new ideas. If they ask the question, can it do this? Well, it may not right now, but, let's put it on the radar. Let's explore that. Let's think about, is that something that we can introduce into Efficiently to make other bookkeepers utilize it?
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of monthly software as a service fee, so once you're all set up and going, what do we need to budget from depending on what features we're using?
Yeah, so we've got 3 tiers because we sort of think of that comms, the communication section that you might start with. So that's your CRM, your email marketing, and the calendars, those essentials. And as I've said before, you don't need to have an Efficiently website. Any of those elements can be dropped into existing websites that you have. You could even put a link in your Google or Outlook email for those calendars. Then the next step up is where you want to use the digital signing. So it's not just proposals and engagements. Any document that you need digitally signed, you can drop in a PDF. You can create the templates for any authorities. So that's sort of the next level up because you're getting not just proposals, engagements. It's hugely valuable. You can potentially not have something like Adobe Sign or PandaDoc. So that's part of that next step up. And then we go up to that 3rd tier is when you're really in that scale where you want to be utilizing probably like the courses and a community. So those are sort of the 3 tiers that we've thought would suit that, as you said, those 4 different archetypes of the bookkeeping practice.
What have you got a budget on, or just from pricing a month as at when we're recording?
Yes, so we are still very low. And for the tribe, we have a special offer outside of the tribe. So you're looking at that sort of basic comms is about the $149, and then going up to that second level, it's about the $249.
Okay, so about $149 per month?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. It just gives us an idea of what to budget on. And so realistically, return on investment wise, if this helps you to acquire or convert just one more client, you've well and truly made more than your investment over the year.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. This has been so insightful for me and so amazing and exciting. Where do we find you? How do we hook up with you? How do we get a complimentary kind of Q&A? How do we do all that?
Yeah, so we're available on the socials or at our website, which is Officiently, so officiently.com.au, and you'll have a book a demo button there. And that just goes straight through to my Efficiently calendar, and you can pick a time and then you'll get the notifications, or happy just to have a chat. Is it right for you? Yeah, let's have a chat.
Okay, good stuff. And you'll be at the summit in August.
Yes, I will.
So there you go. What summit? Information coming soon. But the summit in August, you can catch Kylie running a super high value workshop. So that will be really good as well. All right, Miss Kylie, thank you for letting me pepper you with questions and telling us all this amazing stuff. And thank you for coming on the podcast. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.